Today on Acoustic Alternatives, obviously it looks a little different if you're watching the video. If you're listening to the audio, it actually might sound better than some of the ones I record myself. We are not at Grove Studios, but I do want to thank and mention Grove Studios in Ypsilanti. It is an awesome place that if you're a band member and you have a bunch of guys that need to get together and practice, or a bunch of gals, and you need to get out of your garage to make less noise for your neighbors, it's a perfect place. They've got several different sizes of rooms for you. There's a podcast studio there, obviously, if you've watched the podcast before. This is number like 56 or something. I can't remember how many I've done anymore. And it's been a home for the podcast since the fall of 2020, when we shouldn't have been doing anything at all, but we were. And I want to thank them for even encouraging me to do it, because it was filling a hole. Having lost my radio job, I was missing doing interviews. And so it's been filling a hole. And for some strange reason, when I was doing radio in Ann Arbor, I never had Drew DeFore in. And what the hell was I thinking?
It's not your fault. I'm very reclusive, and I consider myself like a satellite member of just about everything that I'm part of, including that wedding I was telling you about. But I'm at the piano bar so much that I've missed a lot, but I kind of just get in when I can. And this is just such an honor and a treat that this is it. This is the time for us.
It's just the timing is right.
Time for us.
Yes.
And a place.
We were just talking about West Side Story before the recording started, in case you're wondering, what the hell are they doing? They've literally just met and they're singing together. This is crazy. So one of the main reasons, and it's not because I guess because I've never actually received one of your CDs in the mail, and I've never explored your music as thoroughly as I wish I had, until somebody, one of our maybe mutual friends, Darren Broad, posted on his Facebook page about this movie called Duelers. And I'm like, Darren likes it. I like a lot of things that Darren likes. And I plopped it on. And oh my God, it was so good. I mean, like, I know it was locally shot because I recognized some of the people in it. Yeah. And I knew that it was locally produced, and I knew after kind of watching it that all the songs in the movie were yours, which struck me as wonderful because they felt familiar. The way they were performed on the stage by the performers, including yourself, obviously, they felt like they were hits for other people.
They're all kind of, I grew up 19 till I'm 40 now. I've been at piano bars. So it's like I would just see like this style, this is like Big Bad Leroy Brown has kind of got like this, I might as well just show you. But and there's that kind of beat. And then there's like, the classic Mustang Sally, and then you kind of come up with these grooves. So I wrote on my songs, I would recognize that there was a groove, and I would say, I should like write a song kind of like this. You hear, by the way, there's thunder going on right now in the distance. We should be safe from lightning. But,
probably. Yeah,
but no. So I've written a lot in styles that are kind of like it's all. And I also would play piano bars so much that I used to think, if I'm going to play original music, it has to slide right into this. So I need to play like, I wrote this song that was like, it's hard to play like this. It's just like one of those, like going down, down, down to the crossroads, stuff like that,
Well, don't spoil it, because I'm actually going to have you play at least 4 songs. So
I can't help it when
I'm leading to, like, before we get into your backstory, like the childhood version of you, I would like people to, now we've given them a reason why I finally am, getting off my ass and having you on one of my things.
I did something enormous, I would say, and it was with not obviously me. It was like a large group of people got together. There was 27 people, I think, in our film company alone, let alone all the people that were involved in making this happen. And it was just beautiful. Absolutely. I think it was I had a little toast for everybody when we finished, and I said, they say things can't be perfect, but I think effort can be perfect. And our effort was perfect on this film. Yeah. So whatever it yielded, clearly it's getting really well received.
I've actually watched it twice now, which is unusual for me.
That's really cool.
Once was because I was curious, and the second was to prepare again to talk about it, because I hadn't watched it in a couple of weeks. And so
cool.
Meanwhile, you've got music to play for me right now. Why don't you do one of the songs that's in the movie and introduce it a little bit?
So I did this because I didn't want to keep changing my microphone stand.
Smart man.
So I guess the song in the movie that I think this is like my Piano Man, and it's not quite the same theme. Like Piano Man is a sing-along song. This is about my wife. It's like in the movie, Jane, played by Elisa Carlson, gets everyone to sing along. It's you, Marie. It's you. I always knew. In dreams each night till morning light, we'd kiss each other blue. Now my heart and mind are made, and I know that you're afraid. But I love you, Marie. You'll see, you'll see. Love you, Marie. Be mine. And I'd probably say, everybody sway to side to side now. If you're drunk, just sit still. I see you everywhere I go, in all I do. I hear your song always, always, always. I'll wait for you. Now I know you're far away, but we'll settle down one day. And I'll love you, Marie. You'll see, you'll see. Love you, Marie. Be mine. Here's the sing-along part. 'Cause when you know, you know, you know, you know, and I know, I know, I know, I know, I know that it's you. I do know that it's you. Be mine. I don't know if it drives you crazy, but piano bar stuff, there's not really like a continuation that's like respected. Like you always break songs up and you talk, you get people to sing. You can like stop the show and get, you know, if someone's on their phone, hey, get off your phone, you know. So I'm very, I don't know if it's like, you know, scatterbrained, but there's a method to the madness. But what I was going to say is this is the part of the show where I would say, all right, everybody, I really need to hear you sing this part, whether you know it, whether you don't know it. Here we go. 'Cause when you know, you know, you know, you know, and I know, I know, I know, I know, I know that it's you. I do know that it's you. Be mine. And I love you, Marie. You'll see, you'll see. Love you, Marie. Be mine.
I would clap, but it would be weird.
Yeah, I'm used to that. We streamed like 200 shows out of this basement during the COVID, so we totally like got used to just going da-da.
Ta-da. People were silent.
Yep.
Wonderful. All right, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thanks for asking me to do.
No problem. So let's back up to the youngest version of you can remember. Where did you grow up, first of all?
Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan.
Okay, not far from Warren, where I grew up.
Correct.
Not far from the Bommarito Bakery. In
Yep.
fact, the Bommarito Bakery is located in Grosse Pointe, Michigan.
A lot of Bommaritos there, and I told you I think that that was close, but we'll be fine. We'll just have to if there's like a whoop, we'll just go to the next in a couple hours or something. But Nick Bommarito was one of my best friends growing up, so I always like that's the only Bommarito I knew before you. So I think I have to admit one time I think I saw you and I went Nick John, and then it's like, but it's a great name.
It is a great name.
What does it mean?
Good husband.
Good husband. That's a cool meaning.
Yeah. Somebody that I just met for the first time who has been studying Italian, met her over the weekend, said, "Oh, do you know what your name means?" I'm like, it'll be the fourth person to tell me, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Yep, confirmed.
Dude, that's like my wife's name is Colleen, and when we tour in Ireland, it's like, Colleen, you know that means girl in Gaelic. And she's like, I know. Everyone tells me.
Everyone tells me. Anyway, so Grosse Pointe.
Sorry.
What kind of things were you doing as a kid?
Okay, a kid.
Was piano always the thing?
I played piano. There was a hand-me-down piano from my grandmother who I never met. She unfortunately passed away from lung cancer before I was born. But she left my mother a old Chicago Apollo baby grand, which is now up in our living room. And it's real beat up, but it's like I was 3 and I started tinkering. For 3 to 7, I just kept playing stuff on it. My mom remembers the one day she said, "Here's a chord where there's more than one note," and I actually remember the first song I ever wrote went like this. And that was it. I would then edit. So stuff like that. But I was composing at a young age. And I would just play piano, but I also played sports. It was music and sports for me. I was very tall. I'm 6'7". But when I was young, I played basketball all the time. Played soccer. And so, all through grade school, middle school, I started a band when I was in 6th grade. I taught myself guitar at 12. My piano lessons were from age 7 to 12 with my aunt, who was awesome. It was all theory. So we just talked about like music. We didn't really learn like as much. I almost don't remember anything repertoire that I learned during that time. It was just like, she would be like, what are the notes of a major scale? What's a diminished chord? What's this? What's that? Great. But at 12, this happened twice in my life. She said, you're not really practicing the stuff that I'm giving you, but you're playing I can tell you're getting better and better. And I was like her prized student. Like at their recitals, I would play like under the piano, and I would, I was like the goofball entertainer, which to this day, So age 12, I stopped taking lessons, but I kept teaching myself, and I joined a band with my brother, Mark, on drums, and my other friend, Ryan Kramer, on guitar. I actually played bass, and I played piano. And then 12 to 18, I'm in bands with my friend Nick Bomarito on drums at some point, and then
Hi, Nick.
Yeah, hi, Nick. Oh, I think he teaches philosophy in Vancouver, Canada now. So if you're out there, Nick, miss you, buddy. But then through high school, I kind of ended up in a band that was very solid we called it Amadeus, which is kind of obvious, but it was, we're high school kids. You pedal in cliche before you know what's out there. But my brother Mark played bass. I played piano, guitar, and mandolin. And my buddy Jay, John Paul Duke at the time, his name's now Jay Golden, he played electric violin. It's a cool thing, and electric guitar. And we played lots of original music that I wrote. One of the songs in that band was "In My Dreams," which is in the film. Yeah, nice. It's pretty cool.
That's an old song.
It's an old song. It kind of has that feel of being like an old Black Crowes song. But that takes us in high school. I went to UAD Jesuit, and I still had my band throughout all high school, and we played all over like house parties and. We played at, remember Zados Cafe in Ferndale? Mm-hmm. I played Zados. I actually played their last show, and then I played when it was AJ's.
Oh, yeah.
And Boner City, what's he call it? Detroit Bold. Detroit Bold is AJ's coffee brand. They sponsored the film. Okay. AJ, thank you. And Zingerman's and all these Michigan, Detroit Distilling Company, everyone kind of helped us out in some way. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So anyways, UAD, graduated, went to Eastern for a year, met Colleen on the basketball court. My wife, and then she was in my music class the next week. So, but the band I was in high school kept going until my brother passed away in a car accident. It's a very long story, but I know it's just like oof. Now, but this is always the fun thing to say. He conceived a child 3 days before he died. His son Mark is 18. Oh, I think he's turning 19 next month. He's at Fair State golf course management. Brilliant kid. It's just like he looks and the first song in the film. I saw Marky about a week ago, and he looked just like his dad. It's about him. And now he's older than his dad was when he passed away, and he looks just like his dad.
Wow.
So, and I wrote that song like 11 years ago. So now it really is like, oof. But it's cool that song opens the film. Mm-hmm. But that's the Cliff's Notes of, getting all the way to, so that takes me to piano bars. 19, I started JD's Key Club where we shot the film, and they gave me my first job.
It's in Pontiac.
Yeah, in Pontiac, Michigan. And then I'm in piano bars and playing original music, kind of like 75-25, depending on the year. Sometimes if I'm lucky, 50-50, where I'm playing my stuff, like at stuff like places like the Arc. I played at Rockwood Music Hall in New York. I had a tour in Ireland, in Poland. I'd play in Chicago, Colorado. Had all these cool little circuits. Upstate New York, big time, Southern Tier. Todd Russell, my agent up there, got me through like every entry-level room in upstate New York. Ithaca, Binghamton, Oneonta, Delhi. And I just kept playing combinations of my stuff, with a lot of the stuff you hear in the movie, and cover songs. Because I know Katie, she does dueling pianos. Like we know 1,000 cover songs. Yeah. It's like our job is to just keep learning songs. And even this last week, I've been working on new song or mostly old songs. You catch up on stuff that's famous that you're like, I should know Thunderstruck. And I was like, because it keeps coming up.
Yeah.
But so anyways, but yeah, that's it. That's the story about.
Wow. Okay, we're done. Thanks.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks a lot. No, not quite that simple on this. Well, that's a fantastic story, and it makes me understand how you got to be so good at age 40. And it seems like you can play anything.
Hopefully.
Well, it seems like it.
Unless anybody can test that to be negative right now, we'll say that's true.
Well, we're gonna do all originals during the podcast for a couple of reasons. Because A, I want to highlight what you've written, and B, because I don't want to deal with the royalties and
just blank that last part out.
No. You're playing short. I think we're fine with the short snippets. I don't think I need to worry about those things.
Cool.
There was something. Oh, so in high school, did you guys do like Battle of the Bands and
yes.
Did you ace that sort of thing? We're drooping a little bit, aren't we?
I was gonna say that's just my stuff.
You need some microphone Viagra. Is that what's going on?
Oh yeah, that's a great term. That hopefully will last. we did. So that's funny. When we did a battle of the bands. Funny enough, right next to JD's Key Club where we shot the film.
Really?
Do you remember the Seventh House?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we played the Seventh House.
Some great shows there.
Yep.
I saw Howard Jones there. I saw the Corrs there. I think I met Dido there.
Dude, it's great. It was a great
October
venue.
Project.
Yeah, that was our third show. We were terrible, and we played, and it was one of the most beautiful moments of my life because I'd never been in a battle of the bands, and we tried our hardest, and we really like nobody could hear anything, and we had electric violin with a pickup on, a real violin with a pickup on it, not electric yet. Didn't have the money for that yet. So it sounded horrible. I'm playing guitar. I have like a crappy piano that's mixed horribly because I don't know how to mix anything. I probably had 16 polyphony on my piano, which means only 60 notes can play at a time. So if you have a sustain pedal on, you keep playing like notes cut out. And so but we had 100+ people from all of our friends groups in high school, and they went nuts for us. And we did crowd surfing, and after the show, we didn't know. Like we were just like whatever that was. We didn't win or anything, but we came to the top of the stairs, going down to like the lobby, and that was the first moment in my life where all of our friends and like a lot of family had gathered. Because and I look at it this way. I think at this time I'm 16 or 17 years old. I think to be a professional musician, you can't have your family and friends be the ones that are your main supporters at your shows, right? So you only get so many of those shows where everyone's like, we got to come out and support our family and friends, And I just had one of those at the TCA a couple months ago. Everyone came out. It was beautiful. But this is the first time. Come out there and everyone goes crazy and they start cheering for us. And it was just like, the chills ran up my arm. And it was like the nicest moment. And it was
Give you the bug to want to do it more.
Oh, I really wanted to do it more. Yeah. After that. And they really loved it. Because we were, if anything, the most theatrical, if we couldn't play in tune or sing in tune to save our lives, but we gave you a show, So that was great. But that was the first battle of events. Now, flash forward, I'm at Michigan. I'm 20 years old, and my brother, or I must be 19 or 20, but my brother Mark says we should play in the Grosse Pointe War Memorial. Ironically, because I was just there for a wedding, Battle of the Bands. And
do Thunderstruck?
Yeah,
No,
we did Thunder. That's wild, right? Maybe that influenced why
you should do it again.
I should do Thunder.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, people are gonna be like, "Is there like a low end like hum?" It's like
No,
that's
it's
lightning.
actual thunder.
Yeah, it's thunder.
Serious
Thunder. Oh wow! How much can we sing before the royalties kick in? So we played the Grosse Pointe War Memorial by the bands, but my buddy Jay and I were at Michigan, and we were like, oh, we're too cool to be playing like most of this is high school bands. And so we came back and we said like, well, we're not even going to be Amadeus. We're very pretentious at the time. We're not even going to be Amadeus. We're too cool for this. We're going to be Guns and Roses, not N, but Guns and Roses. So
no problem there.
Yeah. So the two songs we had really worked on, despite our poor musicianship, was Bohemian Rhapsody, with 4-part singing harmonies with the four of us, nice. And You Enjoy Myself by Fish. And they're both epic songs, right? So the band before us plays Bohemian Rhapsody with like 12 people. And they were buddies of mine. Hans Barbet was one of them from Grosse Pointe, and they were beautiful. And they played it so well. They played it like the record. So then we came out, played You Enjoy Myself, like probably poorly, but like with so much energy and so much love. I think I wore pink pants and like a blue crush sequin shirt, just like wild idiots, loving life. But then we said, we know you just heard this, but I think my brother Mark, who passed away, he was a wild man. He was like, but we're going to play it better. And I was like, oh, don't do that. But then we played it, and we definitely played it worse. But I think because we played it with 4 people, and like they kind of like, the they kind of just like played it. We were like headbanging, and we got 200 kids to go nuts. So at the end of the night, they're listening to all the bands, and we're like, oh, they didn't call us. Like second place is, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, did we miss a band? And then they go, and first place, Guns and Roses. And like, we won the Battle of the Bands.
Nice.
That's one of my favorite memories.
A victory.
Yeah.
An early victory.
And it's been hard to be in a band. When my brother passed away, I tried to be in a band after that. And then it was too hard. So I've been solo pretty much ever since. Fair enough. There you go. You can't get that feeling again, No.
Well, you briefly touched before we were recording that you were in musicals. So musicals probably brought on the acting bug, which we see in the movie.
Yes.
So the music bug has been there since you were tiny.
Yep.
We're still drooping.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. And so the acting bug, did that come in there, or did that come in when you were attending U of M or EMU?
I can tell you that I think my parents always said I like to ham it up, whatever that means. Like I think they said
like
that
attention.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, yes. I think when you start, you like the attention, and as you become a professional, you don't. You have these moments, and you kind of get over this hump of like, I don't really care anymore. And you start to, and I'll tell you a pretty intense story about that in a bit, about I have bad tinnitus. But no, yes, you love the attention, but you also feel like a validation, like as in like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, because, you know, we're all here on this earth. Like, what are we doing? And then you're like, am I good at this? And then it's like, yes, you're good at this. It's useful. We'll give you money. We'll give you this for that, you know? And you're like, oh, okay. Cause a lot of it's hoping that it's useful or valuable. And like when I was young, like I said, I think what was valuable was the energy we had, because our musicianship was not valuable. Like if you recorded it, you'd be like, I don't want to hear this. But if you saw us, you'd be like, this is like a
so
thing.
Much fun.
This is fun, and this is a spectacle. And I think my whole career has been trying to kind of get better at the musical aspect of it, because I've always been a performer. So when you say acting, it's like, yeah. And then acting is, you know, there's performing, which is like just big energy and, you know, knowing how to play to a camera or to an audience. But yeah, formally, I did do West Side Story at UAD, and I was Tony, and I honestly got the lead because I actually think that I got the lead because I was a junior. The senior guys, I hope that it's okay to say this, I think that they were all smokers and they just couldn't hit that high C on Tonight. You know, like I don't know if I can say, yeah, like two, nine. Like, I mean, we're not, but you know what I mean? Like, you know, like you have to hit this high C on that song. And I think it was harder for them. And I was in this rock band where I'm just learning how to sing all these high Queen songs and Beatles songs. And so I hit it. And then maybe my acting wasn't quite there with those guys. They were really good. But, and funny enough, the guy that was probably supposed to play Tony, but didn't, he played, I think it's Ice. He sang Officer Krupke, and he stole the whole show. I mean, it was that, there was no competition, obviously, but he was the highlight of the show. But it's kind of been my MO. Like, I was Tony, I'm solid, I hold it down. And even in my bands, even though if I'm the leader, I know if you ever see a show, it's like, if I'm with Brad Phillips, like, he's the guy. Or like my wife's like the star. Like, I'm just kind of like the quarterback here to kind of hold down what needs to get done. I just don't care like about like the big moment. It's like my passion and love is when everything goes well. Like, I just love to see, and that's almost like a producer at heart, which is why I produced the film. Like, I just wanted it to be a great thing, and I give all my best songs to these other guys in the film. I don't sing like any of my favorite songs because it's like, that's not what my character doesn't sing those songs.
That's cool though, because that shows how good a song they are. If somebody else can sing it and make it their own, and they did.
I'm very happy to hear that.
They're good songs.
That's awesome.
Speaking of good songs, this might be a good time to play another song.
Cool. Give me some.
I have a lot of questions, but we're going off on such tangents, I'm not sure I'll get to half of them.
This is a lot of fun, by the way. I've never done this, like especially in the studio. Okay, so here's the opening song when Drew comes up to the stage. And it's kind of, I wrote this, you know, that Marie song, I did not write it to be a sing-along. I just wrote it for my wife. And it just happens to be a really fun sing-along. But this is a song that I wrote to actually like, the lyrics are, you've got to be here with me. And it really is like a call to action. Like, okay, you're here tonight, right? You've got to be here with me. Sing, be here with me. You've got to be here with me. Come on, be here with me. Drove to California looking for the time of my life, yeah. Left behind a fortune, trying to see from every side. Yeah. I lived in castles and in cars. It doesn't matter where you are if you can't be there, baby. Yeah, 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 yeah. You got to be here with me. Sing, be here with me right now. Now, if you're listening, sing at home. You got to be here with me. Go, be here with me right now. You got to do it for my brother, for every other who cannot be here with us now, 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 now. New York City, cause that's where all the pretty people go. That's where they go. Now I was trying to make some history without a contribution. Yeah, and being famous isn't hard, but if you don't know who you are, you can't be there with me. Now, 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 you got to be here with me. I said it, you got to be here with me, yeah. Oh, you got to be here with me. You got to be here with me, yeah. If you're not living for this life, you've got to leave you with
Drew DeFore is my guest today on Acoustic Alternatives from his basement and not Grove Studios, where we normally do the podcast. We're talking about his career and his movie that's somewhat available. I mean, it's available, but it's going to be, I think we'll get to a conversation about that, but largely available beyond just YouTube. Grove Studios, again, we want to mention them. We want to thank them for being a sponsor, essentially, of the show and supportive of what I'm doing. Get out of the garage and get into the studio is their motto. So if you're in the Detroit, Ann Arbor area and looking for a place to practice, it's a place that I highly recommend. Just Google them, Grove Studios, Ypsilanti. You'll find out all about them. And maybe you're a podcaster looking for a place to do your podcast. You can't come to Drew's house, but I did. Thanks for inviting me, by the way.
Thanks for coming over. This is
it's my pleasure.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Pleasure. So the music in the movie is all you, which is really, I mean, kind of brave when you're doing a piano bar movie to not do any covers, because when people go to a piano bar, they're singing. I know.
Yeah, we couldn't afford
it.
it.
It's smart, but it also highlights the fact that maybe some of the people who are regular listeners of my podcast, just out of curiosity, maybe have never heard of you. Yeah. However, you've been releasing music for 17 years or so. I've got 2006 as the first release from your website, whether that's accurate or not.
That's accurate. So so I leave these bands, which are awesome, but I go solo, and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have any real mentors in the industry per se, except for this studio where I'm in upstate New York, a guy named Jimmy John McCabe and Jeff DeBella. But Jimmy John's one of my best friends, and he was a band called Yoke, a jam band in like the 90s. But he mentored me a lot. But what do you do? Like how do you get to the other side, like they say in the film? Well, those of us who made it to the other side, and I just went for the music. Like I didn't know about. I thought if the music was good, hopefully everything else follows. And it took a long time. So the first record I did in 2006, 2007, it was kind of like all my piano bar sounding songs that I had written. I got them together. I got Theo Katzman, who was my buddy at the time. I got Sarah Curtin, Christian Carpenter, and Gary Prince, all Michigan people that were contemporaries with me. We got in the studio, we knocked it out live. And around 2007, I released it, whatever that means. I had like a release party probably at maybe even like AJ's or Zados at the time, like was still going. But I was playing around there, and I was selling copies on campus and playing shows around upstate New York and New York City. And I was selling like just hundreds of copies. I think I printed 2,000 copies and I sold like 1,800 of them.
Nice.
So they're around in circulation. I got a record deal in Japan, sold 800 records there. This label that signed American artists called Grey Dogs Records. And I got to do a 4-show tour in Yokohama. We didn't get to Okinawa. Yokohama, Tokyo, Nagoya. And those were just in 2008 or 9. I mean, I can't remember anymore. I think it was 8. Just awesome. It was amazing. And I to this day, like, that was one of the most incredible experiences. The president of the label had like a tie-dye shirt, and he like looked like a fish, groupie. And I'm like thinking I'm going to go to see, Japanese businessmen. And at the hotels I was at, I saw that there was like different like groups that were very respectable. So if you wore like a suit, you're a businessman. But the artists were like, had like, like leather and like studs all over their ears and their nose and their tattoos and stuff. But the businessman would be like, oh, you're an artist. Like, this is totally acceptable and fine. Like, clearly, like, it's not a counterculture or a rebel thing. It was like, I'm a businessman, I'm doing business. You're an artist, probably a musician or a painter or something. So they would see each other and they would bow and they'd be like, there's no like weird, this scum, like.
That's nice.
It was cool. But I learned a lot over there. But, so I made, and then I just kept making records.
Yeah.
And I took all the cash from the piano bars, and I would just funnel it into stuff at all my stuff was like at Big Sky with Jeff Michaels, and Chris DeRoss was there at the time. And then the Troubadour I did with Devin Kerr, who's like does all the Wolfpack stuff mastering, and that record had like a who's who of Ann Arbor musicians at the time. The Troubadour has like, the band is like Theo on drums. I think Devin plays the bass on it. Tomek Marinowski plays guitar. Tyler Duncan plays baron on a song. Brad Phillips, that's where I met him. He plays fiddle. Katri Irvama, from Michigan, she's a cello player. She plays cello. Michelle Shamuel sang on like a track.
Nice.
Laurel Primo sings on a track.
Nice.
It's like just everybody around there. Next record I make, it's more like it's called Bartillery, and it's like just a jam. And I got Joey Dosick on sax, Andrew Kratzer plays upright bass, and Dave Scalia, who's now El King's drummer, plays drums. It was just, I don't know what to tell you. Like I just kept making records, but not like doing anything about it. I kept shopping. Howard Hertz picked me up as a client. He's Eminem's lawyer. He's Detroit, entertainment lawyer. He really liked what I was doing, and he kept trying to shop it. And this is the story of my life until this movie, and hopefully this works. Is people they wouldn't give so much rejections as like, this is really nice, but we don't really know what to do with it. It sounds like it should be like in a piano bar or a movie.
Well,
right?
I guess I'll do that someday.
Yeah, I didn't at the time know how to make a movie, but Adam Bauer from Fleming, like he was like, Drew, I love what you're doing, man, but like I don't know what to do with you. He's like, but please, he's like, stay in touch, and obviously it's not happening as much right now, but the point, you know what I mean? Like
Sure.
No one said no. They just said, I don't really know what to do, but stay in, and everyone kept in touch. So I always, if I write an email, like John Mayer's former management, Brick Wall in New York, they heard me, they were talking with me. Richard Bloomberg, Michael Solomon, again, like really not sure what to do, but that was cool because everyone gave me like an endorsement, but it was just like, you got to keep figuring out like what you're trying to do.
Who you are.
Yeah, who you are. And
well, I mean, I was going to discuss that because stylistically your albums are all over the place. You got a solo piano record, you got a ruckus dueling piano bar style album, a rock album that sounds like nothing else, Kamikaze. I mean, like stylistically you didn't pick a lane, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Some people don't. Some people, like I can think of Joe Jackson, Elvis Costello. If you look at their careers, they didn't stick to one lane, and they've done all right.
Yeah, and if you saw a show, like you would see me at a piano doing all those songs. Like it would all kind of make sense, but but every record is kind of like a snapshot of where you are and what you're focused on at that time. So, I mean, I'm not trying to be I'm actually like very interested in being commercial. So I'm not like, in terms of, I like people. I like, I'm not saying like I like I don't know what the word is. It's the idea that you sell out would be that you're trying to you compromise what you truly love for money. I think there's a line in the film about that. And it's like, I just really like when I play a song and I'm like, oh, this person loves it. That makes me so happy. Yeah. So like I still play In My Dreams, which I wrote when I was 15. So it's because it's like, I don't really connect with this song, but I don't connect with a lot of songs at the piano bar. I just like love.
Just sing them.
Yeah, I just sing them. But I just sing the song. I'm like, oh, they love Piano Man 2000th time. Right. This makes me so happy because it made their day. So I keep trying to write songs that I feel like a lot of them are very specifically for someone or some group. I'm like, they're going to love this. So yeah, so I don't know how to stay consistent through all of that because, but I love Tom Waits, so he's all over the map, So.
Also true.
Yeah.
Well, I tried to consume as much of it, of your albums as I could online because I don't own any of them.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And there is a lot. Prior to our discussion, this is my notes. I kind of noticed that there was a theatrical feel to a lot of it, and it didn't sound like you were actually trying to write hits. There was nothing wrong with what you're writing, but it wasn't like, I'm trying to write a hit. That's not the impression I got. No,
and I think that's because I always felt like, I'm a big fan of the Motown model, and it blew my mind when I went there because their model was, they had the quality control group, and I don't have this per se, but if you'll indulge me, the quality control group, they voted like 100 people, and it was everybody at the company, like the sandwich person, the lawyer, the promoter, obviously the songwriters, the musicians, the mixers, everybody involved. The most mundane job was you're in the quality control meetings, and they had to vote unanimously on every step. So the songwriters would come in, and if everybody said yes, it was in. So it wasn't like you couldn't write something that was like, I'm going to try to like figure out what they're all going to say yes to. Smokey Robinson and all those guys, Hollander, Dozier, and all that, they would just write creatively, and some of it was just like so out there, and people were like, this is amazing. Like this is like my favorite example is like, I won't do the whole song for the right side. What becomes the brokenhearted? There's like no root chords in the whole song, so it's like, and then so it's like it never has a feeling of stability because of that, and that's like brilliant. But like you wouldn't allow that if you were some executive being like, oh, this is, people aren't going to get this. It's like quality control voted on it,
the song,
and it's
songs stand
to this day.
Test of time. Yeah.
So, but then my point being like, the idea that you just have to be creative, and just your job as a writer is to be creative and to do things that you think are really lovely and beautiful. And if you get too formulaic and try to guess what people like, I always have this joke of like, if you're trying to please like a record label, you're just trying to guess what men in suits are guessing that young girls like, and you're
trend
like, they know, So it's just like, you need to just write from the heart, and you can't try to like, the zeitgeist. What is the zeitgeist? What are the times? And I feel like Dylan, for instance, he didn't try to match the times. He loved Pete Seeger, and then like that just became in vogue. He got lucky in a way. It's obviously genius beyond genius. But my point is like, not everybody like self-actualizes and like gets good at like their sort of style, and it becomes like what everyone wants. It just doesn't always happen that way. So, my point being, like, you can't chase the zeitgeist. You have to just kind of keep being as creative as you can be. And like the last record I did in the studio before the movie was the Amavita, which I mixed myself, and I'm very disappointed. Like, even I'm mixing my soundtrack, I'm like, I'm so much better than that now. I'd love to get it remixed one day. But my point is, I really did write that from the heart, and it's just, it's all string quartet stuff, and like, it's just because I love it, and I listen to it now, I'm like, I really love this record. And I know that it's not like, there's no hits on the record, but it's just, I love the songs. So what else can you do,
Live with it.
Yeah.
It's yours. Own it.
Yeah. So
when you're writing songs, let's go back before the movie was made.
Sure.
When you were writing songs, did you ever say to yourself, boy, I wish somebody in a piano bar would sing my songs? Like, did you ever write in that intention?
No. I didn't. I actually, because I was writing, it was for me to actually interject it. I used to try to get my stuff into the piano bar. And then as I grew up, I just said, this is a place for popular music. And my music is not popular yet. Yet.
That was the key word.
Correct. And I have had people come in and go like, here's $20 to do like Keep a Light. And I'm like, I treat it like a $20 request for Tom Waits because I want to do it. And I have $20, which means like, that's a good request tip. Like, you have to kind of honor that. You can't just like ignore it and put it over here with like a $1 bill. You have to go, this is $20 for a song. I have to give this weight, but I have to be careful because it could kill a show just by virtue of unfamiliarity. Because even all the best social economists like Dan Ariely will tell you that there's a value to familiarity. People value what they know. So even just that's why like they used to slam pop songs down your throat, because then you would start to like it just by association. You'd be like, I know this. Oh, I think I like this. It becomes simpler. So yeah. I always say new songs are like new friends. Even if they're great, it takes some getting to know them. It takes patience. It's sometimes tedious with the best of people. Mm-hmm. So I respect that element of being a showman. I'm seeing everything happen in real time, and I'm like, okay, this is my song, and people are going to go like, oh, cool. But then they're like, I don't know it, But sometimes when you have people like at the end of a night and they're just like, whatever you do right now, we've had 3 hours of our favorite songs, whatever you want, and I'll play.
And
one.
we're drunk.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one of those nights I played In My Dreams in Howl at the Moon in Hollywood, California, and Joe Simpson at the time, Ashley and Jessica Simpson's dad, was in the crowd, and he comes up to me in My Dreams, which is down in the movie, and he's like, "Here's my card." So when Jessica Simpson's dating John Mayer, he's like, "That was a great song." He's like, "Here's my card. Reach out to me. I want to talk to you." And I think that next week was when Ashley Simpson had the lip syncing thing on SNL. and I
kind of left him alone.
Yeah, I kind of was like, I'm not going to jump on this right now.
Not a great time.
But I remember it was a really like insane looking card. But, and I wasn't into that style either. Like pop, she was just because pop.
No, but that could have paid your college tuition for your kids.
Tom Waits quote, right? He said, how do you like how the Eagles covered Old 55? He said, well, I like it a lot better after getting the royalty check.
Yeah. Right.
So, but I love the Eagles. I don't care.
No.
But yeah.
So of the songs you've written, and if God forbid you died tonight, what song would you want to be remembered for that you wrote?
It changes. I have a great answer for that, but it changes from time to time. Because I like my theme. I'm starting to realize as I've gotten older, like, you need to start to realize what you're trying to get out there. And optimism is my thing. So I like songs that are optimistic. And they have they're not too cynical. Like Books is one of my favorite songs I've written, but that song is very cynical. So I like Gotta Get On from the film because it's like about wanting more. But probably the song at this point in my life that I would want is it's maybe a tie between like I'm Not Alone, Marie, which you've heard, and Keep a Light, because they're just, it's optimism. Like keep a Light is about optimism. Stay. Yeah, obviously it's a metaphor. Like don't give up on me. Marie is just like, I love my wife, and
it's not her name.
It's her middle name.
Aha.
I love to use middle names, and it's a family name too, so it's even better. Her mother's Janet Marie, and grandmother's Janet Marie. She's Colleen Marie. Our daughter's Alethea Marie. So it's kind of a cool. And ironically, and this is weird, but my grandmother's name was Marie too. So there's a lot of Marie, but. No, I'm speaking to Colleen when I sing that song. But I'm Not Alone is like a resolve about just things can be really tough. But you know what? We're all, you're so much stronger when you're not alone. So, But was that supposed to segue?
It could be. Yeah, why not? What the heck? I'm going to make them, while you're turning around. I'm going to make this go a little higher.
Okay, you work on that mic. I'll work on this mic. Yeah, I didn't know exactly how. I tried to make this work both ways, but then I would be like this the whole time.
No, it wouldn't work.
And then,
Thank you for setting it up, by the way.
No, it's so...
Usually we use my phone and a broken iPad to do the video, so this is much better.
It's fun. Let's see if this works. Let's just make sure this is something I can do. So when I don't have a drummer, I use a little loop pedal, and let's see if I can make a little... It's like... All my effects are off, so we wouldn't be like in a canyon for the whole song, thing. It's a little dry, but... I saw Marky about a week ago. He looked just like his dad, hanging holly on the kitchen door for his mama's modern man. I know he won't stay, she said. I sure don't mind a friend. The tide went never my way, so ride the waves instead. And I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. No, no. There's a lot like me. Marky's blood was never blue or holy. He was born outside Detroit. Always yelling was the class boom bully, not a friend to raise a choice. But a sliver here and the sunshine's there. You can find the crowns to live. So Marky found a song to keep the walls from caving in. He sings, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I'm not alone. No, no. There's a lot like me. I know why you're here tonight. See, I'm the same as you. Write it, sing my songs for those who feel the way I do. Just so much stronger when you're not alone. Not alone, I'm not alone, I'm not alone, I'm not alone. There's a lot like me. I said I'm not alone. No, 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 no. Oh, I'm not alone. Well, there's a lot like me.
Hell yeah. Get some water after that. Jeez, Pete. Go ahead.
That's a tough one.
Drew DeFore is my guest today on Acoustic Alternatives. We're getting into a bit of his life. There's a movie called Duelers that inspired me to grab him in for a conversation on the podcast today, and I'm thoroughly enjoying myself. I have so many more questions. I feel like we've already done this for like an hour, and I can't really see the clock from here, but can you see it from here?
Is there a limit?
No, I just don't want people to go, oh my God, this is so long. I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
I fall asleep to podcasts, so the longer the better. Like
Okay, well.
if it's interesting, even I just kind of like put it on where I fell asleep. I
want them to pay attention.
I know, but
there's a lot to learn here.
Okay, that's fair.
So as a dueling pianos player, which leads us to the movie eventually. When somebody offers you a lot of money to play a song you don't know, what do you do? Like, I walked up with a $50 bill and asked you for a song you don't know. What do you do?
So if there's a 4-person team, which is like the standard for the best clubs, which means there's 2 on stage, 2 on break, I will either 50 is kind of on the line. If it's $100, I will text the people on break and say, do you know this? Oh, I'll be like, hey, do you know? First of all, we always I throw it to my partner. I crumple it up, the request of the money, throw it to my partner. They look at it, they're like, oh, I don't know it. And it's priority request as that kind of money. And so then maybe like text the player on the break. Do you know, what's the last song this happened to? I just learned, I play so many shows. I was just in DC. Oh, I just learned, and I can't do it now, but I faked Love of My Life, Queen.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah, beautiful song. And you're like... no, yeah, is that kind of...
You don't want to hear me sing.
Yeah. So, but no, that's like, there's learning songs, and then there's like cramming for a test, doing it, and then forgetting it. So nobody knew it. So it was like 10 minutes of my set, and I said to the person, like, it was like to Heather, I love you, $100, light of my life, love of my life. So I said, I'll be right back. And so I went up to the green room, and they have a piano. I learned it, at least the best I could. I didn't memorize the lyrics, so I came down, I hit it on my phone, I put it on the piano. I said, this is for you. I've never played this in my life. Everybody take a drink. And then I kind of got through like a verse and a chorus and a verse and a chorus. And then he was so happy.
You win.
So yeah, just serving the song and their fantasy of that moment is more important than the accuracy.
Right.
Because of course I made mistakes. The melody wasn't exact, but it was like, he was so happy. And so that's the answer. It's like somebody learns it. And if there's just no time, so then the next level down would be we substitute. I don't know, Renegades. Is it Renegade by Tom Petty or
Styx does Renegade? Not
Renegade. Yeah. What's the? I don't even know. It's another Tom Petty song. I don't know that. I know these 7 Tom Petty songs. Can I play this song?
Renegade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't have to live like that.
I thought that was yes. I thought that's
Refugee. You
Refugee. No, I did screw up.
Same era.
Yep.
I had both of those albums growing up.
Hey, but I don't know it clearly, so that's the point. And I don't know Refugee, but I do know, Free Fall. I do know Last Dance Mary Jane. I know even like newer stuff like Room at the Top. It's a great Tom Petty song. Okay, so you substitute, and if they're like, yeah, that's cool. If not, you just give them the money back. Like, we're not going to keep the money if we don't know the song. All the requests have the money on top of them. We don't have them in the jar. The jar is like, we did it, dunk the money,
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Makes sense. All right, so we've talked a lot about you performing originals in the movies. Have you ever thought about doing a covers album? Because you do them all the time. You have favorite ones that you would do?
Yes. I want to do, and this keeps, the problem is that it keeps turning from like, should I go really popular or really like obscure? But I started to think I would love to do a piano cover of 90s alternative rock songs. So like, go.
Yeah,
we could do like that one.
I do.
The waiting drove me mad. Pearl Jam. You're finally here. I can't do too much more for royalty reasons. But no, like I
honestly don't know the limit, but
I think Foo Fighters, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, No Doubt. Alanis Morissette. Like I want to get like one song that lends itself really well to piano from like all those big bands, and like just me and a piano, because like I know how to kind of arrange it in a way that makes sense to me, and I just go and knock it out. But I don't do it because I actually just don't. The simple is I don't really know how the like I would need a label that would be like
help you with the process.
Yeah, they would be like, listen, and literally, if any label's listening, I will come in and knock out these covers. If you do all of the rights association stuff like that, you keep all the profit, and I'll just get to do the record. If you can,
come on, you need some profit.
Well,
performance royalties.
They can, whatever they want to do. But my point is, like, for me, it's all about like I want to do things and like
for the joy of doing it, right?
For the joy of doing it, for having done it. But I don't know how to administer. Like, I know you have to like give so much to the publisher, to the artist, to this and that. It's like literally the only thing that stops it. Because it would actually be a very cheap record to make. I would just go and pay for 2 hours at Big Sky and knock it out.
You already know the songs.
Yeah, but I just don't because But anyways, I have a lot going on right now. I'm still mixing the soundtrack for the movie, but that is something I've thought of, and I would love to do it. I'd probably include rare bands like the Afghan Whigs, who I love so much. But like they're whatever. Whatever. If it was a label, they could be like, we want these ones. You got it.
Yeah. Cool.
You know,
that's a good answer.
Cool.
Let's hypothetically say you're driving from Ypsilanti to the Rockwood Theater in New York. What are you listening to?
If I have an event that I'm performing at and I need to learn a song, I'm prepping. Honestly, I think I have listened to very little for my own enjoyment in the last like 20 years.
Really? What would you listen to if it was for your enjoyment?
Well, the ones that I started to love was like Tom Waits. I went through a whole Tom Waits. I know his like whole catalog. I can play about 40 or 50 of his songs, almost all of them unassisted with lyrics. But I kind of have gone through the stuff that I love, and I've exhausted it, and I actually am in like a mood right now where I want to get into something new like right now. But again, the next thing that'll happen is I've got an event, and I got to play another song that I've never done, and I love them. I had to learn "Crying" by Aerosmith for a wedding, and I just like listened to it all day, and I was just, what is it like? There was a time, like, and I had to hit the high notes and everything. Yeah. It was so much fun. So I would listen to it like 100 times. I had to play another event that was like, well, I know when you're around, 'cause I know the sound of your heart. 1975. That their new band, and I really enjoyed it.
Still in love with you?
I don't know that one. That one is the sound. Then I learned you found somebody else. It's a really beautiful melody, but they just played SNL, like they're a newer band. Yeah. But I listened to their concert they did in Brooklyn. It's on YouTube.
Saw that too. Actually, somebody said you should watch this. It's like, throw it on.
It's great.
Yeah.
So that
plus beautiful.
That's the most recent thing that I've been like, this is great, and I want to listen to it more. But again, if you like live in my household, the toddlers are just like, I'll put something on, they'll be like, no, Dad, no.
Wow.
And they want to hear. Well, they just want it. They're doing something. I love it because they are focused on something cool. He's building a Lego. They're building like a town.
But music goes with that. You can have music for everything.
Not my music.
Oh my
they want a more Encanto or hey,
It's your job to expose them to everything.
I'm trying. You know what? We've had many dance parties to Thriller, and they've gone very well.
Okay, good.
So they listen to good music and they love it, and they really do. They love to dance and they love to sing. But no, it's kind of like, if I put on like Peter Gabriel, which is one of my favorite things to put on because it just sounds so good, they'll just be like, this is great. But if they're focused, they don't want anything. So, and I say that's fine because then I will, go do what I got to do.
They might grow into it.
Yeah. They're only 3 and 4, so there's still hope.
So you don't have time for this sort of thing, but if you had time,
okay, fair.
Who is worthy of spending money on at a concert right now? Because the concert tickets are a little high.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, the reason I think Taylor Swift is so prolific right now, besides her catalog of smashers, is that she's got I've learned this from making the movie. It's like, again, the quarterback thing. Like, she's the quarterback. Like, however you evaluate her songs and her performance and her voice, which I haven't seen her, but I've heard she's fantastic. She's got the best everything else. So, like, I saw Coldplay, and they had my buddy, the drummer on a couple records, is open. It plays for Alessia Cara, and he opened up for them, and he got me and Colleen tickets, which was really nice. Adrian, thank you, Passarelli. He gave us those bands, and they're like, somebody invented that. You know how like they all, it's coordinated Bluetooth throughout the whole arena, and they all light up together.
I was in the arena with you.
Yeah. Oh, you were there.
Yeah.
So at the Palace. Okay, not the Palace. I said the Palace, right? Was it the Palace or was it Little Caesars? How long ago was that?
Wow, gosh.
Good question, right? Was it the Palace or?
We'll have to look it up in my spreadsheet.
It might have been the Palace.
Could have been.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
So but yeah, the Coldplay show.
Coldplay is a band you'd say is worthy of spending.
I think that was incredible.
It was
so incredible. Yeah. I mean, they're like a bar band, so they get it.
Sure, they were.
And they come out and they're just like, so a lot of the piano bar players that I mentor a lot of people because I'm relatively young, but I'm also 21 years in, and I'll get asked, check this person out, talk to them after the show. Like I have an agent in New York, like you're playing with this new guy, check him out, talk to him, give him your take on stuff. He knows to ask you and stuff. Sure. So, but I always have this thing I say where, your show needs to be out there. Like the show is out here. Like if you're playing in here, like you're gonna. I mean, that's an aesthetic. People do that. That's fine. But at the piano bars, like our show is out in the crowd. Like you're with them. Like you're not kind of like just playing and they're watching. And there's a lot of I don't know what the rating of the show is, but like there's a lot of sexual references I would use. Like you're making love to the audience. You're not just taking care of yourself while they watch. So You're making love to people. You want to like be with them, be here with me. You know, if you're so the performers that are like with the crowd and they're just like looking at you and they're like connecting. You know, those are the performers that get it. And there's performers that are actually, and fair enough, they're great songwriters maybe, but they have stage fright. So they're actually just playing out into space. And they're hoping that, they're hoping it's going well, but they have no...
They don't forget the next note.
Yeah. They're just like trying to play the music. And it's like, but you know what? Like, just who cares about the music? Like that's the line in the movie I'm really happy with. It's a tool. It's not the task. You know, like this is just a tool. Like there's a task at hand, which is to get these people, lifted or whatever it is, make them cry, make them laugh, make them happy. So like if there's people who obsess about the music and there's merit and value to that, there's no hierarchy here, to be honest. Like I've seen people who are just, but that's what classical music is. They're up there playing the most incredible compositions with the most incredible dexterity and accuracy. And that's like, I'm not disparaging that at all. But my school of theater is like my friend who plays viola asked me, she's like, you're such a, crazy performer. And she's like, I'm teaching my students, they're very technically good. How can I get them to, be better performers? Because they're playing the viola pieces. And I said, well, that's a different art form than your technical exercises. The best performance they could give would be to come up to the recital hall and take their viola, smash it on the ground, break it to pieces, go ta-da, and then walk away. That would be the best performance. Why? Because people would be angry, sad, confused, delighted, laughing.
Talking about it?
Talking about it. Like, it would be a performance.
Yes. It
wouldn't accomplish anything musically, but that's the point, is that you're saying how can they be better performers? Like Jimi Hendrix sets his guitar on fire. That's what a lot of people talk about, And it's like, obviously, you can have it both ways. You can be Freddie Mercury. Yeah. That's the aspiration. But the point I'm making to her was like, as you're teaching them technical stuff, why don't you talk about like eye contact and talk about, my brother had an improvisation teacher who said the teacher made them answer, why are you here? Like all the way to the meaning of life, or at least their take on it. It's like, why are you on the stage right now? And you have to have that answer to some degree, or else why are you on stage for these people? So that would be like, I know this is completely crazy tangential from your answer, but the performers that are totally offering something to you as performers is who I would spend money on. The people who just play the hits or just jam, it's not what I would want to go see. Gotcha. So
good, long, but good answer.
All my answers are long.
So typically I've kept the podcast to a certain length. I usually have like 4 songs. I have so much more I want to ask you. I want another song.
Okay, let's do another song. And if
we might do 5 songs instead of 4 songs.
You can cut out. I'm
not cutting out anything.
Okay, all right.
No, nothing's getting cut.
Let's see.
You're getting everything we were doing right here.
All right. I wrote. I'm gonna try "Gotta Get On." It's Now here's my question. Here's what I'd like to ask you. I wrote this song in 15 minutes, and the reason is. Your restrictions set you free. Like, I knew that it was for this character feeling these feelings in this moment of the film, and I didn't have like a 90s alternative sort of rock sounding song. So I kind of just like put that all together, and I made some edits later, but it mostly came out like this. But I also wrote it in a very high key. So do you want it in the movie key, or do you want me to go for it?
I want you to be comfortable.
Okay.
Because this is going to live on the internet for the rest of your life.
Okay, well, I have no shame. I'm sure that...
Do it.
Okay. This is called "Gotta Get On." It's about wanting more. So. You say check it out. I already did. You say there's this place. I was already there. You say this is cool. Not anymore. You say be here now. You say be here now, but there's no time to waste. There's no time to take. If you knew the dues I've paid, then you would know. I gotta get on. I gotta get on my way. You say I'm the best, I already know. You say why still here, well leave me alone. You say meant for more, now I wanna die. You say there's still time. You say there's still time, but there's no time waste. There's no time to take. If you knew the dues I've paid, then you would know. You say there's still time. You say there's still time. No, there's no time. There's no time. If you knew the dues I've paid, if you knew the dues I've paid, if you knew the dues I've paid, you would know. Gotta get on. I gotta get on my way.
The drawback of this setup is that I'm not facing you, and
I know.
I can't feel the. I can't. I mean, I feel it, but it's different. Like
Yeah,
I have my
sorry.
back. No. It's not about me, but I'm just saying, this is incredible. Thank you again for inviting me into your house. Drew DeFore is my guest on Acoustic Alternatives. He's moving the microphone.
Yeah, I forgot. I was like talking to you. I was like, oh, no, we can.
Oh, that's right. No, okay.
Yeah, people credit when we did 200 shows during COVID down here. People criticized someone criticized me for having my back to my wife.
One person.
And I was like, yeah, but then I'd have to put it this way, and then it would be between us, because she will come up and put her, we were closer physically, but just because we're not looking at each other.
She likes you.
She's a sweetheart.
Yeah. Maybe she'll be here before I leave.
We're hoping.
Yes. Well, Drew DeFore again, my guest today on Acoustic Alternatives, normally at the Grove Studios, but today in his basement, which is a kind place for me to do it. And the movie is called Duelers, and a lot of the songs, actually every song you've heard today, is in the movie. I'm getting a little bit more. I have so many more things to ask you. I made way too many questions.
Speed round.
Speed round. There is a speed round at the end. Modern day pop songs that inspired the most piano players in the last 25 years. What do you think? Inspired other piano players.
Inspired piano players to like to write, to
become piano players.
Ben Folds is at the top, but it's like he's not at the piano bars for good reasons. I think he doesn't really try to be there, just like Tom Waits. Yeah. And it's no mark against him. The piano bars where I spend my life, it's like I know I have the statistics. I've played 3,000 shows maybe by now. He doesn't come up a lot, but the piano players, we all go like Ben Folds. Yes. Ben Folds 5, Ben Folds, all his stuff, absolutely great.
But if you were like a 12-year-old or a 15-year-old or a 20-year-old, who's influenced you to play piano? That's the question.
To play piano, honestly, it's still Freddie Mercury. It's still Queen, because like Glee brought everything back, and you still see him playing, and you're just his passion, and obviously Billy Joel and Elton John are still up there, in terms of just like it's like we're in this weird like potpourri period of music history where everything old is new again, and there's not really like a defining sound. It's kind of like almost like a recap of like everything that's been. So it's still the Beatles. It's still all the Haight-Ashbury and the the Greenwich Village scenes. Like those are still resonating today. And then you get the 70s, like Zeppelin and 80s rock and roll it's still a big deal. I mean, when I started in 2002, 80s rock was just like I learned Journey, I learned Bon Jovi, I learned Styx, I learned REO Speedwagon, I learned like all the hits from the 80s, because that's who was coming out to the club. Their kids were maybe in high school and they had more disposable income and they were coming to the shows. And then just now even the 90s stuff that I know is like I'm playing like private events. I'm seeing people my age. They're like, play some Counting Crows. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I know like 20 Counting Crows songs. Like, what do you want to hear? Like Angels of the Silences, like around here. Like, but piano, I mean, yeah. So you mean, are you asking like today or like growing up or like?
I guess I'm thinking of like a song, like 1,000 Miles by Vanessa Carlton. I bet launched 1,000 piano players.
Awesome. Yeah, it did. And it was great.
Sarah Bareilles probably launched 1,000 other piano players.
That record, that's from the record with Love Song. That's one of my favorite records. People don't know her, but Chantal Krevusiak.
I know Chantal.
Oh,
you know her. I met her once.
No, you know her, but I am in love with her and her music. I love Our Lady Peace too. Her husband.
Yeah.
But no, you're absolutely right. And I'm trying to think like if they, it's weird like because I did these live streams and a lot of parents are like, they had their kids watching and they'd say they want to learn this or that. They heard us do this or that, and sometimes it was like a guitar song that I was playing on the piano. Like they want to learn like they just want to they hear a melody, and the cool thing with piano is you can just put them on the piano. So it's weird. I think the piano is still going to be strong like for ages because it still is the best way to just get all of music down somewhere,
It's just the hardest to travel with.
It is hard. That's part of my story is I just couldn't just keep going and trying to set up pianos and figuring out how to make pianos happen. It's so hard on your back but Guitar Heroes can just go and just play.
Slap. Acoustic go anywhere. Sit in the street. Not as easy for you.
Yep. It's hard.
I'm going to skip to this question because it fits in better with where we are. All right. So this is kind of the lightning round thing we're talking about.
Yeah.
So these are some of the famous piano players, and I'm going to say your favorite songs from these artists. I might even name mine if I can think of them. Billy Joel, favorite song?
I think Miami 2017.
Oh, that's a great one.
Or Goodnight My Angel. It's just so heartbreakingly beautiful. It's not as like a favorite, but that one.
Yep.
Yeah, that's probably like my favorite. Like I just think it's just the most beautiful thing ever written. But I love to play. Miami 2017. I just love it. I think it's so well.
Songs in the Attic, a very overlooked record in his career, which takes his old material and updates it a bit. But that's a favorite of mine.
Yeah.
And I actually probably have to go with Honesty because it was a hit, but nobody ever plays it anymore.
Honesty's great. Yeah.
Elton John.
Mona Lisa's Manhatters.
Same.
Yep.
That's mine.
It's the best.
And I think I actually fell in love with it after I heard Indigo Girls cover it, which would not be on piano.
Cool. So cool.
I know.
Did you fall in love with it from that moment in Almost Famous, or organically some other way?
No, there was a promo-only Indigo Girls CD when I was working in a record store. There was a live performance from the bar in Georgia. I can't think of the name right now. And it had it on there. And I was like, God, I love this melody. That's right. This is an Elton John song. My sister used to play this album in the bedroom next to me. And So, yeah.
Oh, such a good song.
Love that song. Stevie Wonder.
I love Master Blaster. Mm-hmm. And I think I haven't learned it yet, really well, but I just think I Wish is just the coolest.
Oh, that's a great
I think it's just the coolest. I got to learn it.
It's hard to pick the best Stevie, but
yeah. A lot of, and Ray Charles and Stevie, they're blind, but they did a lot of stuff on the Black Keys. And as I was younger, you're terrified of the Black Keys because they're not as easy as the White Keys. But the Black Keys are easier to find if you're blind because you can find those gaps.
Yeah.
But this would be a really easy to think if you were, you're just playing all Black Keys for the most part. It's easy to play it, but no, I love that. It's so grooving, and the lyrics are cool. But yeah, but Master Blaster, we'll be jamming until the break of dawn.
I might go Sir Duke. It's hard though.
Oh yeah.
God, there's so many good ones.
Yep.
Lyrically speaking, just talking about all the influences that were, it's a great song.
Great.
Less cool, but same era.
Yeah.
Barry Manilow.
Now Barry Manilow, it's funny because I had a dad who liked Barry Manilow.
My sister did, and I do too because of her.
I write the songs.
He didn't write that song.
He didn't write it?
He didn't write that song.
Okay, well that was the one I was going to say. But that's the only one I could really point to that I know as well enough to talk about.
But he was such a huge, Elton and Billy were piano players, but he was too. Nobody ever really mentions him.
He's huge.
He was huge.
Yeah, absolutely. But that was the only one. And I will find a Barry Manilow song he wrote that I can.
Weekend in New England for me. That's my favorite.
I'll have to look it up now.
Joe Jackson.
I have to learn.
Stepping out.
Yeah, how's that part? Yeah, Stepping Out. It's such a cool song. Such a cool song.
Some of my favorites, I don't think, even though he's primarily a piano player, I don't know that I necessarily run to the favorite songs of his on piano.
Yeah.
He did a covers album of a lot of Louis Jordan, Louis Prima era stuff.
Oh, I love Louis Prima.
The Jump and Jive record's a great Joe Jackson record.
Oh, he did Louis. Okay, I have to hear that.
Jump and Jive.
Yeah,
I'm older than you, so I've got more music in me.
But that's amazing. I want to hear that because I have a story with Louis Prima. I have a relative. I'm Belgian, really Belgian. I met a Belgian connection of my dad's in Las Vegas, and he's used to go hang with Louis Prima and told me about stories about him. Anyways,
nice.
All his records he gave me.
Favorite Ben Folds song?
I actually like Magic.
Oh.
And I think it's because I sing barbershop music and
really?
I heard a acapella arrangement of it that was so cool, and it just they had these like, like. It's just like I can't play it for you now, but like there's an acapella arrangement where they really take the chords and just make it so beautiful. But like,
From the Reinhold Messner record?
Yeah, from the last Ben Spy record. That's probably my favorite, but I break down in tears when I play Still Fighting It off of Back in the Suburbs. Yeah. I played it the other day, and like, if there's anybody, I played it at, I played Detroit Filling Station, upstairs, the North Star Lounge, with Phyllis, and who I've known a long time and love her. But there was an old friend of mine from high school who was in West Side Story. No, well, she might have been gone after that. She was in Damn Yankees. She was not in West Side Story. I forget. But she was an old friend of mine, and I played like, we're still fighting it, and I just started getting a little emotional because it's like, dude, we're getting old, like, but that's such a great lyric.
That is a great lyric.
Oh, but that song is great. And that's like, you talk about a pop song, and it's like, that's not, no one, it's a pop song. No one knows it, but it's like, it's just the greatest song.
It was a single, but it didn't really do great for him.
Great song.
I still got that's hard. Luckiest probably just because meaningful. Oh, it's just so a meaningful song.
No, and you know what? It's got the most legs. I've played that more at the piano bar than any of his songs, because someone will say this was our wedding song, play Lucky, and you're always able to get away with that because you have to sell every song at like the top clubs that if you're going to play there, there's clubs they don't hold you to the high standards, but like if you really know what you're doing, I play this club in DC called Bob McKee's, best selling piano bar in the country. And it's like every song has to land. So if you're playing that like a Friday night at like 11 o'clock, it's got to be like you've been just crushing song after big song after big song. And now you're like, this is their wedding song. And you have to go like, they need to stand up and dance. And then everyone takes out their lighter cell phones. You play,
make a big deal out of it.
You make a big deal of it. And it's like, that's the slow song in the set. But it's like that people, they think it's a beautiful song. And it plays and it's like, I love it. So if all his repertoire, that might have the staying power at the clubs more than like Angry Dwarf or like, which is more fun than any other song, but okay. Yeah.
Lots of swearing.
Yes.
Lesser known, but equally as good piano player, John McLaughlin.
I don't know.
Okay. You don't know.
Yeah.
Look him up. Industry. First album. He's been around a while. Gabe Dixon, another lesser known, but currently in the Tedeschi Trucks band, but has a bunch of his own solo stuff.
I have his stuff. This is like I have really good music friends, and like if they're not the piano bar, like I was telling you, I'm not like looking into them, but I have Tedeschi Trucks, and I have all these great artists that my friend dumped on my hard drive like years ago. My Irish manager, he used to interview people in Stirling, Scotland. He was like interviewing Damien Rice and like all the biggest like Irish acts at the time, and he was my manager for like 2 or 3 years. So he got me hooked on Tom Waits and all cool music, and he gave me stuff like that and like Jason Isbell before the day, So anyways.
No, Gabe's solo stuff is quite good.
Okay,
cool. Ingrid Michaelson.
Yeah. Yes. Her band used to crash here.
Really?
Yeah. Because we knew Hannah. And from back in the day, but Chris Kuffner mixed Kamikaze, the record that you heard of mine. Yeah. Nice. So her bass player Chris is awesome. We stayed at their place in Brooklyn back when Theo lived upstairs, and he was just a good friend. Let us crash when we were on tour. But no, that. Her my favorite song from Ingrid Michaelson is and I don't know if I know the key. All we can do is keep breathing. All we can do is keep breathing. I can't play more than that. That song. It's earlier, but like something about that connected with my wife, and then that connected with me. But the song of hers. So as I'm going now through my catalog, that song kills. I've seen her live twice. And
she's hilarious.
She's great. She's absolutely great. She connects with people. The song that I liked the most, and it's like, this is again, like I haven't covered it, so I don't know the words, but what's the song where she's like, it's very acoustic, and it's like, the rain. It's like something. Shoot, I'm gonna kill the show here if I don't remember this, but it's the. I have to come back to it, but there's a song that's just like she did it by herself acoustically, and it's just got to have the most haunting, beautiful melody, and but it's one of those moments. I'm now that person. This happens to everybody I ask about songs, but I'm gonna remember that song in this interview.
Very well. Mine would be Blood Brothers. That one I love that one.
Colleen, that's like her favorite.
Love that song.
She opened, I think, a show with that I saw once, and it was awesome.
Last time I got to interview her in the studio, she did that one. She said, "I give good hugs at the end of the trip."
That's awesome. I think it's great.
Lesser known, but a favorite who comes through Ann Arbor quite often that maybe you know because she does, Vienna Teng.
Don't know. Yeah. Please, now you're going to have to send me stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. And just to be clear, I have no shame about not knowing people. Like my whole career.
Piano player is what you do. It isn't what you listen to necessarily.
But
this is my
no, that's the thing. It's like it's actually popular music, and it's whatever comes up at the piano bar, and I'm like, oh, I have to know about this now. But if I call it like if it doesn't come up at the clubs, like I'm usually not as familiar unless I have some cool friend who has introduced me. Well, I mean, Justin McNichol he was an amazing DJ who just knew all the great music, and he was in my life for 3 or 4 years, and he really got me going. Like, cool. He was a big influence too. Maybe I'm missing that right now. He's got a family in Sterling, and
I was going forward into modern. Now we're going to way back.
Okay, this will be better for me because I think that the ones that have stayed, I usually have some knowledge of.
Vince Guaraldi.
Yes. Come on. That whole record, every Christmas, of course, we have it on vinyl. We just play it to death, the whole thing. It's just the best. I'll keep playing it over and over and over again. Yep, absolutely
beautiful.
Love it.
And then somebody that we just lost who is very much influenced by him, George Winston. Has he ever been a part of your?
Yes, when I was young, somebody at that label. I was composing music when I was 12, and it was what was the name of that label?
Windham Hill.
Windham Hill. Somebody from the Windham Hill talked to me, and they were like, "This is really cool stuff." I was like composing music at 12 or 13. And, they didn't like sign me or anything like that, but it was like I was composing in that style. I listened to a lot of George Winston. So there's a huge connection there. And I know he did some of those tracks, and yeah, that's a sad loss. But
a couple of his albums were like the soundtrack of my college years writing papers. It was something to relax to. Yeah. And then eventually I started to play air piano to them. And I'm like, well, now I'm distracted because I'm not concentrating anymore because I know the records too well. But great stuff for piano players to absorb if you're a piano player. If you could, now we're going to switch subjects again. Yep. If you could work with any producer to make a pop record, any producer who's been alive in the last 70 years, who would be the best producer for you in a pop record?
Well, the producer that I listen to the most is Daniel Lanois. Ooh. Just his records are but that does. I don't know if I would want to work with him. Funny enough, and not for any bad reasons. I just like that's not my sound. That humongous sound. No. It's not me, right? No. Like I mean, I don't make these enormous sounding, beautiful arena rock records. So it's like, I actually would love to make a record with Greg Dooley from the Afghan Wigs.
Interesting.
Because he's so flawed. Like his approach is like very flawed. Like he's trying to like some of his approaches, his vocals, they'll be like as earlier records, they'll be like out of tune at times, and it works because it's affected. It's effective because he sounds so affected. He sounds like he's in pain. He sounds like he's suffering. Like he's killing it. And there's so much going on their productions, but like it's like a cacophony, but it works. And I find myself failing to try to accomplish that. But Afghan Wigs and Twilight Singers and Greg Dooley's stuff is so. It's just so like. There's a lot of darkness to it, but there's a lot of optimism. And I always find I always try to tell people about this, like, you shine a light, like our room is all bright right now. So like, if I shine this, it's like, that's fairly bright. But if I killed everything else, this would be like enormous. So like the darker you get, when you have like, you can have such a better resolution. And you can, so when like Greg Dooley will have like that song after like all these dark, powerful, hurtful, painful songs. And then it'll just be this song that just opens it up. And it's just like that I gravitate towards that. So he's always being produced. He was produced by Daniel Lanois, one of his favorite records by him called 1965. But then like I think he's got enough of it now in terms. I mean, I know he does. Like he's been around. Like I'd love to like
see what he pulls.
He's the guy. Yeah. Like I want to be like, you're the guy. I'm a huge fan, and I don't always gravitate towards. I'm sure he would even see some of my stuff as cliche or trite, and that's fine. But like, there's a part of me that's like. We share something very strong in terms of just like we love a lot of this. He loves Motown. Nice. So there's like something there, and there's something about like the darkness he has that I can relate to. Catholic guilt and all that stuff.
So that would be interesting. I would be interested to see what that sounds like.
That would be amazing.
All right. Yeah. So about 4 years ago, was that when the movie started filming in Pontiac?
We filmed the film. Oh, hold on. What's that song called? You know talking about Ingrid Michaelson? Oh, it's like this has never happened to me. Okay, keep talking. The movie 4 years ago.
The film, yes.
Yep.
Well, you...
I have to... It's going to drive me crazy. It's one of my favorite songs, but you caught me in a brain fart, which never happens to me.
So I watched the after, like when you debuted the video, there was also a video that had the discussion with all the staff and the members of the cast and all that.
Yes.
So I found out while watching that the bar was closed and you guys basically reopened it to film the movie.
Yeah.
Somebody had to basically revive it from a death.
We made it like,
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible that we like got it from complete like it was there's nothing in it that was working. It was like lights had to be reprogrammed, like paint had to be put up. It was very
a lot of work.
Yeah. I'm not going to figure this out.
Where did you end up finding the actors for the movie? I mean,
all duelers, all dueling piano players
from across the country.
We auditioned them from like the people I knew and then the people I trusted that would like essentially recommend people who were like both actors, and it's hard to explain it, but like we were going to ask a lot of these actors. So like we didn't just go like who can play the piano the best or who could act the best. It was like who can handle like some serious like duress.
Multi-instrumentalists.
Yeah, and yeah. So you had to be able to do a lot, but I would say that like so we wanted like Skip to be like a guy who's had experience with drugs, not in real life, but like this is an actor that is like has to understand like the mentality of somebody who uses drugs and abuses drugs. But like we don't want the dueling piano players who may be addicted to drugs that are like
for real, yeah.
Like it's like sorry guys, like we love you, but it's like you're not reliable for like a month of life, which we all had to be like perfect like every day because it was such an incredibly like meticulous and difficult shoot. So the recommendations were there were probably 30 people that auditioned. I auditioned for all the leads roles just because if I had to be a utility guy, I would do whatever was asked of me from the producer. Because, I'm making a movie. I know I wrote it, but it's like, and I was like one of the 3 main producers, but it's like, I want it to be a success. So like, I will do whatever it takes. But, I did write the role I ended up playing for me, like in mind. But like,
he is named Drew.
Yeah, well, I wrote it, but we were all. That's a funny story. We were all going to have our names because we were like, this will be fun. We'll just use our names. But then we realized that the Purple Rain situation, where Warner Brothers owned the rights to like Prince's image and him. So if you went around performing like those songs, looking like him, it would be actually copyright infringement on the film that Warner Brothers owned. That's why he was the artist for a while.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to run into a situation like that with anybody else being like. I'm Danny Corzelis. I'm Danny Kaye, and like I'm playing dueling pianos. It's like, well, that's just like the guy in the movie, But like I'm one of the guys that owns the film company, so I was okay. I was like, well, I'll just use my name. I'm not gonna change my name. And like Ken's my wife, and she's part of it. So we just made sure everybody else was safe, and we changed their names. So it was like like that's the reason I'm Drew. Like to be perfectly frank,
Unlike in real life, you're a bit of a dick in the movie, but so are many of the characters. Actually, they're kind of dicks.
There's a lot of idiosyncrasies that we had to bring out in the the dueling pianos world. Man, I've never really used this for this purpose. So, I think that I've seen a lot in my time, and I definitely wrote a lot of really fun, quirks and characteristics of these characters. I played an amalgamation of 3 or 4 different entertainment directors I'd met that were like very intense, very austere, I think is the word, and they were just like, for better for worse, like ruled with an iron grip, and like I thought it was fun because like I definitely have learned to be. I was probably like that when I was 16. I was probably like the character as like a 16-year-old band leader, going like, come on guys, and like just way over the top in this. But like now I know that being a good leader is like, bringing out the best in people and not ever disparaging them or telling them, like the things that Drew does are like really not helpful. He's a dick, but it's fun playing a dick. It's so fun playing a villain. If you saw the takes that being Tyler's Tom McGovern is the most lovable guy. So it was hilarious, like just picking on him. And like some of my improvisations, I was just like really laying into him. Some of them we kept, like the whole, I don't know if they're cheering for you, your denim ensemble, like that was like improvised, and they kept it. And like, I just was so like every time I would do anything, I'd be like, all right, yeah, okay, Tom, like you son of a, just really angry at him. And but it's you can't be angry at someone who's so kind and lovely. So that's a fun experience. Playing a villain is you get to indulge, So it was fun.
Considering I don't know how many of them had acting experience with one person, an actor, actress.
Well, they all had acted. They all had, no one had acted on screen except for the owner, Vince, like Steve, the owner of the club. He had been on screen on like some sitcoms, and he'd done commercials. So he had experienced screen acting, but I'd only done plays and theater stuff. I was like acting with like the guys from Star Kid at U of M when I was there for a couple plays. I did the residential college like short plays, and I like we were going to do Glenn Glary Gun Ross once, and it got canceled, and I was going to be in that. But I had mostly done stage acting, and so had Danny Corzelius, who played Skip. He was a stage actor in college. But Lisa Carlson does a lot of, she's doing a play right now in Chicago. She does a lot of stage acting in Chicago when she's not doing dueling pianos. She's fantastic. So, no, Shelby, I don't think had any real acting experience. I could be wrong about that, but no, everybody just kind of, we did like a crash course. Danny Mooney, our producer, just like sat us down and was like, we're going to talk about like how you don't need to go to the fourth or the back wall. Like on the stage, you have to project all the back, but it's like, you can be like, I learned how, there's a scene where I'm fighting with Tom McGovern, Tyler, and I have to show disgust. And it's like on the stage, you might be like, you're like, but it's like, this is like on camera. So all I did was go like, it was like that. So I went, and like, I mean, I'm further away here, but like, if you watch during that scene, it's right before I turn around to go to the bar, but I go like, it's like, and I remember like, when I saw it, I was like, that looks enormous. And if I had played it like, like
it would have been overdone.
Like you can't go over the top. You have to be like very, like you almost have to do it like you would do it in real life. Sure. And I'm probably too big in real life for screen. Like this is like
6'7", you said?
Yeah, I'm 6'7", but I mean my features and like the way I talk to people, because I'm always like a stage performer. So you have to tone it down for camera.
I thought everyone did. Okay, we're not gonna pick a name. I'll say it when we're not recording. But I found that there was maybe one person in the film that wasn't really believable as an actor. Like I felt they might have been not the best. But I'll tell you after we're done recording, because I don't want to insult anybody. But
it was me. Just so
overall, I mean, considering with that like caveat that no one was really a film actor, it's a really well done movie. I was very awesome. Very impressed with everything that came out of that. And you've been talking about it like sprinkling it in throughout the interview here, but I was going to ask if there's going to be a soundtrack available, but it sure sounds like there is, because you were working on it today.
Oh yeah, I'm working on it. The guy that Steve Schultz mixed the film, and because the songs in the film are so condensed for like just the use, almost none of them play out. So he didn't, we didn't hire him to mix the soundtrack. He mixed the film, but you can't like have a half mixed song and then the other half doesn't sound like anything, and it's like, it's just completely like devoid of like reverb and compression and all that stuff. Yeah. But some of them also were chopped up because we had to like go to all the dialogues, come back and this and that. So I've been putting together the soundtrack for months, and it's like really been a beast of burden, but I've been really enjoying it, and I think it's starting to sound like absolutely fantastic.
Performances from the film.
It's all, and they're like stretched. Almost all of them are like stretched out. Some of them we actually didn't have the whole songs. Like just a couple, but like, no, it's like 21 songs, like double front album. To back. It's like a double album. I mean, it's huge.
I'd buy that CD. That's what I'm asking.
You can stream it. I think that's going to be out probably in the next, give it by the end of the month. It should be out. CD. I'll get you the CD. I'll burn one for you. CD Baby, they stopped selling CDs.
I know they did.
I know, it's so intense.
You can still get them somewhere.
But yes, there will be a soundtrack, and we actually haven't put a ton of promoting into the film just because we have our merchandise is now getting like perfected and finalized and shipped out. They actually sold so much they like got kind of backed up.
The Schrodinger Cats T-shirts are gone already.
I mean, they aren't gone. They have to make them, and they got so many sold they had to.
That's great.
Yeah.
And again, the film so far is only on YouTube, right?
So this is a cool story. We got a distribution offer. We actually had a festival interested in us, but they kind of like, you learn all these things are like they're all self-serving. Like it's a business. They're trying to do right by themselves, and they want you to obviously offer your film. And like, we don't have any stars, but we have this cool concept, and there's a fan base around dueling pianos. But we formed this relationship with Bobby McKee's in the National Harbor, the best piano bar in the world, as far as, and I've seen.
You've said it more than once.
I will say it again. Bobby McKee's, best piano bar, dueling piano bar in the world. They offered us like a partnership where we would like, essentially we gave them a production credit that starts the film, which looks awesome. It actually gives you a lot of energy to start the film, so aesthetically it's cool. But then they're promoting the film all summer. They're getting all the players out to the club in August to do like 2 nights of dueling pianos and show the film. Great. They're getting a red carpet. They're going to go all out, and they're going to have like articles and press releases and all stuff. So they're giving us value that no one could offer us, and we get to keep all of our rights.
That's great.
And but the deal was like they were like, but if it's behind a paywall, like how's anyone going to see it? And how are they going to get interested in the concert? So we have a deal with an aggregator called Film Hub, which we're going to essentially go through the summer with YouTube so anyone can see it. And we're actually at a point now where we haven't really put a lot of juice behind it, but so far only like almost 5,000 people have seen it. People are tipping the filmmakers, which really helps us to recoup production costs. They're buying merchandise, and hopefully the soundtrack's a huge hit. And then like by the end of the summer, we're now going to be on like 100 platforms like Apple TV, Prime Video,
really?
Google Play. Like it'll be everywhere. It'll be everywhere that you can buy or rent movies. And then even that company can still like pitch it to Netflix if it does well. Like, but hey, they're getting good numbers. Would you like to do a deal? So there's still a huge possible future for this film. But we're still kind of like at the end of the summer, we're like, if it's still going well, we might not take it off YouTube. Like we might, because it's like in our minds, it's like we just want people to see the movie, And if people are, so like say 100, I talked to I actually emailed Dan Ariely, the economist, about this. I said, listen, we want people to see the movie. We want to make some of our money back though. So what does your study say about paywall versus like just give it away and ask for tips or merch sales? He said, well, like think about it. 1,000 people look at the rent or buy option, and maybe one person buys it for $20. We'd get like $10 from that. Then like 1,000 people see it for free, and let's just say all of them at least check it out or watch it, and then like just 5 people decide they want to buy a shirt out of 1,000. Then you've made like $50 or something like that, So like now, and 1,000 people have seen your film. So it's like we're thinking it's like better economic sense, and it's like better for just like you've made this thing you're proud of. You want it to be seen, but it will be cool to have. It might be cool to just have both. Like it'd be cool if you can go on Apple TV and there's like a cool image and all the descriptions and everything, and there's duelers. But that's being set up right now. But for the partnership with the Piano Bar, we're on YouTube. We're out. You can see it. You've seen it now. It's led to this. That's what we knew. We wanted to get it going and just get the juice behind it because it's fun, and everybody in the film like really proud of it, and
Maybe if you can find a way to get piano bars across the country, not just your favorite one, but to have a screening of it before an 8 o'clock performance, like 6 o'clock.
This has been brought up.
Screening and then 8 o'clock performance. And somebody, not everybody, but like at least somebody from the film.
I'm into that, but it's hard to convince people. But
we're saying, we're almost there.
Oh, this thing is. I guess it's because it's been down here so long.
That's okay. Well, we should wind it up because we're gonna.
Okay, cool.
We're gonna lose it. I'll save that one until after you perform one more song.
Okay. Oh boy, I gotta think what that's gonna be. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you should be able to do another song you wrote.
Oh, I know. I'm just being silly. Okay.
Do it.
You want to do it?
Yeah. Let's do it. I'll save the last somewhat silly question.
Okay. My uncle told me I had to write a last call song, and I think he meant it. I think he wanted it to be more poppy, but this is the one that I felt. So, and funny enough, the character in the film's Bethany, but the real Bethany is not a girl that I was
had a relationship.
Yeah, I didn't have a relationship with her, but it's so funny because a lot of after you're happily married, you don't like write songs in a certain vein because you're not in that state of mind, so you write it for other people. So this was a longing that I felt from somebody else, and so I wrote this for him. Last call for alcohol, it's last call for justice. I gave up my heart for a pair of eyes. It's 1:45 and I'm blind. Last call for alcohol, it's last call for dreamers in Bethany's arms or a bed of ice. It's 1:45 and she dies. the know, infinite souls, all lonely together, together, together. Last call for alcohol, it's last call for anything. I'm barely alive. What have I become? It's 1:45 and I'm done.
Drew DeFore is my guest on Acoustic Alternatives. Like I said earlier, some of the stuff you write, you have to move your microphone, by the way, is a theatrical. That is so theatrical.
Yeah.
That belongs in a musical. That belongs. As you were singing it, I heard somebody else singing it.
Yeah.
And I know who that somebody is. What do you think about Josh Groban covering that?
Oh, come on. That would be amazing. And he's somebody that loves to go between the musical theater and pop worlds.
Right.
You know,
that would be a song that
you know,
we should pitch to him.
Do you know what's cool though? Like a young not a young Josh Groban. Like as he's getting older with his beard and like, because it's like here's the cool thing about being 40. I think I wrote a lot of songs when I was younger with like sort of like the fantasy of what it would be like to maybe like love someone like I wrote a song, I'll Never Fall Out of Love with You, and it was like it's like that song when I was 28, and it's like I hadn't been married for like 30, 40 years. You know what I mean? Like I almost have no business writing that song. But you know, I can imagine the idea. Mm-hmm. But as I'm getting older now, there's songs I wrote that are heavier songs. And I think as a kid, no one really believes you. But then you're getting older and they're like, oh, I really believe that person. Like I've been that character. You know, I think we've all been that character. But whatever substance it is. But like the point is like you have to kind of embrace where you are. You know, to be a good actor, to be anything. You can't, you see the guy trying to be younger than he is, you know what I mean? Or somebody trying to be cool. And it's like, you're this age, you're this shape, and it's okay, you know? So, and there's benefits. Like I can't be a young man now, but like I can, I can't be the Tyler character in the film anymore. The young, stars in his eyes. I can be Drew, and I'm probably getting close to being Skip. So it's like,
Don't be too Skip.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah.
Drew DeFore is my guest today on Acoustic Alternatives. The movie is called Duelers. It's available on YouTube. It'll be available lots of other places, as you heard. It is, I'm going to say, highly recommended. It's been a while since I've watched a movie more than once. So,
oh, that's awesome.
I really enjoyed it. The music really stood out to me as, like I said at the beginning, kind of like familiar already, even though I didn't know it. But it was perfectly like it fit in. It felt like this is a hit. This is a hit.
Aw.
I've spent a lot of time listening to music, so
we like all the same things. I think so. It's like all
sure.
these songs are pieces of those things that we already all like.
Right.
So it's.
But I might have liked them better. I'm like nothing against the album versions that you recorded, but there was something about these performances that were great.
Always trying to find. I've written. What is a song? Like it's a very Platonian Plato. Like there's the form of something, then it's like embodiment in the real world. Like there's the idea of chair, and then there's a real chair. There's the form of a song. Like there's a melody, there's a lyric, there's a chorus behind it, and I've tried to put a form on all these songs that I've composed, and to varying degrees of success. And I've had friends, and I don't know if I have any real fans. I think I probably know everyone that likes my music at this point in my career. So I don't say fans, but friends of mine who have supported me. Thank you. They've said these are the best like performances like of these songs, and like it's so and Danny Corzelis, when he sings Last Call, he like you believe him, you believe him.
I thought it was his song.
Oh gosh,
he owns it.
It's
Sorry,
cool.
It's your song, but he owns it.
That's an honor. It's like I don't, like you do everyone. Okay, that's the thing about everything, but like filmmaking, you have to know you have to be like, what do I do best, and how does it fit into this? And it's like I felt like I was performing that role because I was the best person for the job. We literally tried other people out for the role I played, that I played in the film for my own movie. But it's like we had to make the best movie we could make with the resources we had. Sure. But my point is like, you have to be humble and say like, what's gonna make this the best it can be, and everybody nailed the songs and like they crushed it. I'm so lucky and fortunate that they agreed to do it, and they're all proud of it. They're very kind in what they've said about it. And you said you saw some of that talk back we did. Yeah. They're really, that was, I hadn't
genuine.
I hadn't heard that. I've been in a cave working with the guys on the edits and the stuff and all the decisions the last few years. So it's like to finally have, and even you, I appreciate that. Cause it's like, even today, I was in this basement the whole day working on the soundtrack. I'm still not really like out of what's the word? Like I'm not up for air yet. And I'm still like in the midst of getting the stuff out so that it can be enjoyed. And I'm hoping there's some point where I can take like a victory lap, but like the 100+ personal letters I've gotten from the dueling community has just been like life-changing in terms of like, cause we all are going to die. And we think about, what have we done? What are we leaving behind? And like having been in this industry 21 years and made something that is so, it's a love letter to dueling pianos. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like no one's getting rich here. We're not capitalizing off the industry, So it's like, really is just a labor of love. That is how much I love this industry and the people and like the experiences I've had. And so many duelers are like, this is so awesome. Like, I feel seen, like I know this is not remotely comparable, but like, there's an element to like when you have representation in films, if you're someone who's maybe hasn't been represented for like so many years, it's not like that important, but it's the idea that like, you're like, I'm a dueling piano player. No one has any idea what that means.
No one's ever done a movie on it before.
Yeah, because you can't, because it's expensive. we cracked the code. We got, we wrote the songs.
Your songs,
yeah. But we're really happy about that.
Final question. It's a bit of a silly one.
Right.
I've never acted in a movie. I've never sung on a stage, so like up close to somebody else, like singing into the same microphone. But anytime I see people like in an intimate scene in a movie or singing face to face, I go, breath mint? Do you guys have to like prepare for that moment? Because I know if I don't eat for a while, no matter what.
That's a great question. I chew gum, and I do think about that. It depends though, because like the Tyler scene, I wasn't gonna have any consideration for him. I wanted him to hate me. So like you try to kind of like, I don't believe in anything being in a vacuum, and I also believe acting is acting. Like I don't love method actors because if they're coming into like, I actually think you're less talented if you can't turn it on and off. Like if you come in and you're like, I am this character, like, like right now, like I'm still going to treat you like shit because that's what my character would do. And it's like,
I'm glad you weren't that Drew.
Yeah, today. No, I mean, but there's no reason for that because if you're truly in control of your mechanism, you can be like, I'm Drew. Okay, now I have to, and you focus, and then now you're like going to be the character. So, but at the same time, you need to elicit reactions that are authentic.
Because bad breath, apparently.
Bad breath. I mean, if you have bad breath, someone's gonna like. They're just, like
repulsed by you.
Yeah, that's like part of it. So I think that whatever gets the job done, I would say if you want someone to like you, have nice fresh breath. So I would just put it all towards like, I'm very methodical and pragmatic. I have that Motown mentality. Let's all vote. Like let's not try to be like, we think this is great, so we're gonna put it forward no matter what. It's like, no. We want something that like will appeal to the whole world, and we have the whole world right here. 100 different kinds of people from different walks of life and different statuses and jobs and incomes, and they're all going to vote, and we're going to figure out and that's like, it seems antithetical to art because it's voting, but it's like they made the best. They have more #1 hits in that crappy garage than Beatles, Elvis, and the Beach Boys combined. So
silly.
I don't know what your metric is. I mean, I still love Tom Waits and Afghan Wigs, but.
There you go.
Yeah, whatever.
Thank you so much for your time. It was such a pleasure to talk to you about everything, not just the movie, but your career. And I hope that I'm right, that this is going to do very well beyond just a handful of your friends seeing it and
that'd be cool.
A couple thousand people watching it online. Like it's not that easy to get attention for what you're doing.
Correct. And we haven't, just to be clear, like we haven't gone at it that hard yet because we're still getting like all the things in place, like the soundtrack. Right. So I'm quite pleased with what we have right now, and I hope that it does well as well. But this is such an honor because this is the first one I've done for the whole thing, and we plan to do many more. But
thank you.
This is the first. And maybe we'll do it again in a few years, and it'll be a different kind of interview.
If you can still talk to me.
Oh, that will never happen, and you know it. I'm not that kind of person.
Drew before used to talk to me 2 years ago before he became a star. No, I'm just kidding.
No one has ever said anything about anyone who ever came from Ypsilanti, Michigan.
That's right. If you don't know what we're talking about, watch the movie.
Yeah, and it's because I live here. By the way, I love Ypsilanti, but I thought I can't say that about anywhere else except for my town.
Right.
Because then if someone asked me, I'd be like, yeah, I love Ypsi, but like, if I'm
It's a
gonna,
joke. Don't you
I can't
get it?
trash like Ann Arbor because like, you know, then
Because people have said nice things about people from
and
Ann
there
Arbor.
are a lot of famous people from there.
Yeah.
Anyways, Ypsilanti on the map if this movie gets seen.
Where can people find out about you and or the movie?
Okay, so just look up Dueler's Film. That's like that's the handle for everything. That's YouTube's Dueler's Film on Instagram. Google it. It's our website. And look up Dueler's Film on YouTube. You can see the film. There's gonna be behind the scenes footage. We're about to start releasing like a ton of shorts, behind the scenes, extended scenes, cut scenes. Like it's all just beginning. But like I said, as soon as I print this soundtrack and send it off, it's gonna be pretty exciting because I think the songs are like gonna be one of the more fun things. Like it's like the best record I've ever made while making a movie.
Yeah.
So it's like that's going to be so fun, and all of it's going to be out there.
And your previous 7 records are available at drewdefour.com?
Yeah, and they're on every and at every platform, like CD Baby. They actually stream it, but Spotify and iTunes, all those things.
There you go.
Yeah.
Once again, not from Grove Studios today, but we'll return there for a future podcast. If you're new to my podcast because of Drew, there have been many others, guests from Glenn Phillips of Toad the Wet Sprocket to Brian Vanderhook of the Verve Pipe to some of the best of the Michigan music scene that are relatively unknowns but fabulous people. Somebody that maybe you don't know, Bob Mervack, another fellow piano player who invited me into his home, and we had a similarly lengthy discussion about his very interesting career and his appearance in a movie and all these. Like, there's a lot to explore if you're new to the podcast. That's what I'm saying. And I wouldn't be doing it without the help of Grove Studios. So thank you to them. They're in Ypsilanti as well. Not very far from where I work, not very far from where you live. And hope you've enjoyed today's discussion. We almost need to break this up into 2 parts. It's so long, but thanks for letting me be here, Drew. Thanks.
Thank you so much, John.